Ever stop and think about what happens to the parts of an animal that, don't end up as steak or chicken wings? It's this whole hidden world right in front of us where absolutely nothing goes to waste. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the incredible, kind of surprising journey of animal byproducts.
It sounds like the setup to a really weird joke, doesn't it? But there's a real answer, and it connects all of these things that seem totally random. Just stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly what ties them all together.
Okay, so let's get our terms straight. The official name for all this stuff is animal byproducts. The easiest way to think about it is this. The primary products are the main event, the meat, the milk, the eggs. The byproducts? Well, that's literally everything else, and as you're about to see, everything else is a huge, and I mean huge category.
To wrap our heads around all this, we're going to take a little journey from the outside in. We'll start with an animal's outer layers, then move to some stuff you'd find in your kitchen, then we'll get into the really surprising value hidden deep inside. And finally, we'll see how the whole thing just comes full circle.
So let's kick things off with the parts on the very outside of an animal. These are the layers that get turned into everyday goods that we all know and use.
First up, skin. Now here's a little terminology for you. We usually call it a hide if it's from a big animal, like a cow, and a skin if it's from a smaller one, like a sheep. But either way, this raw material is the starting point for leather, and that's a massive multi-billion-dollar global industry built on one of the toughest materials out there.
But how do you go from a raw hide to the leather in your shoes? Well, it's a whole process. First, they cure it with salt so it doesn't rot. Then they get all the hair off. The really crucial step is called tanning. That's where they use special agents to make the material stable and durable. And finally, there's the finishing, which gives the leather its specific color and feel. Wool is another fascinating one, because it can go down two totally different paths. If you've got long, fine wool fibers, you use the worsted system. You comb them all smooth to create those really fine fabrics for things like suits. But if you have shorter fibers, you use the woolen system. The fibers are just carded, not combed, which gives you that thicker, bulkier feel we love in a cozy sweater or a plush carpet. Super versatile stuff.
And what about feathers? You might think they'd just get tossed, right? No way. They are way too useful. After they're cleaned up, they can be ground into a high-protein ingredient for animal feed, used as stuffing for pillows and comforters. And of course, they show up in all kinds of decorations, from fancy hats to old-school fans.
Okay, let's step inside. We're moving into the world of those primary products we all know, but we're not just looking at them as food. We're looking at them as raw materials for a whole bunch of other things.
Let's start with cow's milk. As you can see, it's mostly water. But it's that other stuff, the lactose, the protein, the fat, the minerals, that's where the magic really happens. These are the building blocks that food processors can pull apart and totally transform.
And these are the results of that magic. Every single one of these things we love starts out as just simple raw milk. Cheese, yogurt, butter, they're all just different ways of playing with milk's basic ingredients through things like fermentation or churning. It's pretty cool.
The good old egg. Talk about a superstar of versatility. Yeah, we eat them for breakfast, but their unique chemistry makes them priceless in other fields. I mean, get this. Millions of eggs are used every year just to help produce flu vaccines. How wild is that? Plus, they're used in paints and cosmetics, and the shells even get ground up for calcium and animal feed. All right, time to go even deeper. This is where we uncover some of the most mind-blowing transformations, where we find incredible value in the parts of an animal most of us have never even thought about.
And this really gets to the core philosophy of the entire byproduct industry. It's all about efficiency. The goal is simple, but it's powerful. From nose to tail, every single piece of an animal finds a use.
Just look at this list. It's incredible. Bones, horns, and hooves go through a process called rendering. And what comes out is this huge variety of things. You get bone meal for feed and fertilizer. You get gelatin, which isn't just in gummy bears, it's in medicine capsules too. And you get super strong glues and even solid things like buttons and dice. Now, some of the most valuable stuff comes from the places you'd least expect. Glands are harvested for critical enzymes used in life-saving drugs. Intestines are turned into surgical sutures that our bodies can actually absorb. And, this is my favorite, they're also turned into the high-quality strings you find on violins and other instruments.
Even blood is an incredibly valuable resource. It's not waste at all. It's collected and dried into something called blood meal, which is an amazing high-nitrogen fertilizer. It's also used in livestock feed because it is just packed with protein, vitamins, and minerals.
And that brings us to our final leg of the journey,
This is where we see how even the very last materials get looped right back into the system, creating a pretty amazing circular economy.
At the end of the day, the idea is so simple and kind of beautiful. The byproducts from the end of one life cycle provide the nutrients needed for the start of the next one.
And these byproducts have different jobs in the garden. For example, if your plants need a quick boost for leafy growth, you'd use blood meal. It's fast-acting and loaded with nitrogen. But if you want to build strong roots for the long haul, you'd use bone meal. It releases phosphorus and calcium slowly, building healthier plants over time.
So you see how it all connects? Manure goes right back to the soil. Other waste can be used to create biogas for energy. And like we've seen, those powerful meals from blood, bone, and feathers put concentrated nutrients right back into the earth, getting it ready to grow the next round of crops. It's a perfect loop.
So, let's go back to that riddle from the beginning. What do fertilizer, soap, and violin strings all have in common? The answer, of course, is animal byproducts. It's this hidden world of transformation that turns waste into some pretty wonderful things. So next time you buck